You know, I've made quite a few crude, tasteless, and hideously blasphemous jokes in the show about Catholicism. And here's another one.
So, in the US, kids are banging out stickball games and guzzling chocolate milk. Over in France, they're endeavoring to find whether rosé or Pinot Noir goes best with ratatouille. Of course, nap time probably went a lot smoother. Finally, there are those people fussy about what they do for a living.
Tom's a weatherman.
Meteorologist, yes.
Brit's a stewardess over at Southwest.
Flight attendant. Actually, make that international flight attendant.
Call it a feminist view. But has it occurred to anyone that if Sam hustled a little more at the hardware store, maybe moved a few more lawnmowers, get the garden tool sales a flowing, maybe Marion wouldn't have had to steal $40,000?
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
Let's talk about how OCD are you? All right, while true obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, is a serious issue, I submit that just about all of us have a little touch of it. There's always that one thing that each of us needs to be just so. Personally, I physically cannot put food in the fridge if it's not in a sealed container. But in my defense, growing up, my parents never did. I still have nightmares of pulling out apple pie that had turned to rubber or a pork chop that was now like eating a kitchen sponge. And let me tell you, there's not enough ketchup on the eastern seaboard to fix that. Leftovers without lids don't really age, they mummify.
Hopefully, we don't age into that elderly couple that wraps the sofa and love seats in a quarter inch of industrial plastic. Something about peeling yourself off the sofa in July heat sounds quite distasteful to me. I have to put caps back on shampoo, conditioner, and body wash, having had them watered down by errant shower spray one too many times. Nothing says disappointment like squeezing shampoo into your hand and getting lightly scented tap water.
Stace has this like Tetris like approach to loading the dishwasher. Every inch has to be maximized and organized so that you can fit plates from the full Thanksgiving dinner, a wedding reception, and the Last Supper, while still leaving enough room for that wayward soup bowl.
I sigh every time I see how you load things. Willy-nilly, the cup handles must fold in out for maximum capacity. All the dishes have to be mostly washed. It's more a dish sanitizer than an actual washer. They have to be about 90% clean going in.
Every once in a while, she'll say, "You could have fit more in that dishwasher run." And I'm like, "Babe, that was all the dirty dishes we had. Do you want me to go knock on the neighbor's door and see if they have a wayward souffle cup that needs attention?" My parents also had this strange guideline for dry cleaning. It was for men's clothes only. One time they picked up our laundry for us, and my mother said, $38 worth of skirts and blouses? That's why ironing boards were invented. For years, my father was locked in this ongoing battle with the sump pump in the basement. Whenever a bad storm knocked out the electricity, the basement would flood. He was constantly recarpeting the place. Then one day he got sick of it and he bought this V8 rocket sump pump with a friggin' car battery as a backup. Then, of course, he didn't connect the terminals properly, and next thing you know, we had Swamp Marchman again.
I used to work with this woman that was simply obsessed with lunch. Anytime anyone brought up a local restaurant, even if they were 50 feet across the room, she'd shout, "You gotta check out their Thursday specials! The tilapia sandwich is so big, you'll never finish it!"
Don't forget hip hop. We get hip hop on Thursdays.
You could whisper, "Subway!" from another zip code, and she'd yell back, "Get the chicken teriyaki, extra bacon!"
Yeah, she drove me nuts, right? One day, I actually made a bet with her. I said, if you can go one full day without talking about lunch, I'll buy you lunch. She couldn't do it.
At our office, we're getting lunch bought for us by pharmaceutical reps. Those girls are studying the menu in the back like it's the SAT prep at 8 a.m.
Ever meet someone who's obsessed with symmetrical things? Like everything in their house is perfectly bookended, all the knickknacks are arranged strategically. These are the people that would call into a sports talk show and say, "No, I don't have a comment about the game, but could you turn that Fighting Irish figurine on Mad Dog's desk about 15 degrees to the left?" Great, thank you.
I bet the spices are all lined up, labels facing front, stacked in size order. These people straighten pictures hanging in hotel rooms they'll never visit again.
How about compulsive cleaners? I lived with this chick for a while who never let me finish a cup of coffee. If I left it out for even 5 minutes, unattended, it was sanitized and back in the cupboard. She also had this weird fetish about coasters. I would wait until she was in a compromised position, and then I'd say, "Hey, babe, look at the water droplets slowly sliding down the sides of my beer can towards that mahogany finish." Next thing I know, she's sprinting out to the front porch in her underwear to save the table. That's also how I took possession of the remote control. A relationship isn't about trust, people, it's about cunning.
I am a confirmed ADHD cleaner. I keep flitting from found mess to found mess, but every pass through the house and things start to brighten up ever so slowly. Also, if we ever move anything and there is that inevitable dust behind it, even if it's like the refrigerator or the TV, I have to clean it up immediately.
My brother's kind of a film nut, and I remember being over his house one time. He described his DVD cataloging system. It was some complex arrangement of genre, title, director, rating, and decade. Trust me, the CIA doesn't put that much effort into filing confidential documents as my brother does with his copy of Wayne's World 2. He makes the Dewey Decimal System look disorganized.
Finally, there are those people fussy about what they do for a living.
Tom's a weatherman.
Meteorologist, yes.
Britt's a stewardess over at Southwest.
Flight attendant. Actually, make that international flight attendant.
Right, and nobody's a garbage man anymore.
Sanitation engineer? Really? I've never seen an engineer hanging off the back of a truck yelling, "Whose blue recycling bin is this?"
Kind of makes you wonder why the Russians didn't go with violinist on the roof. Or maybe you've seen the Arthur Miller classic, Death of an Executive Solicitor.
There are so many others. Which ones do you have? Need your Honda parked exactly 4 inches from the curb? Newspapers, crisp and unread. Gray at exactly 94 degrees. Or maybe you just obsessively check your tire pressure. Let us know your personal OCD-ness in the
We
comments.
want to see some comments. Okay, I want to talk about our feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is with the New Jersey death metal band THAETAS. We have a lively chat with all four members of the band, covering everything from losing a bass player to the proper way to pronounce the band's name to creative uses of drywall during shows. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's get this going. This is For the Hope Devoid.
Okay, let's talk about Hope for the Day. Hope for the Day is a nonprofit movement empowering the conversation on proactive suicide prevention and mental health education. Over 700,000 suicides are reported each year, with many more going unreported. In the US alone, over 130 individuals commit suicide on a daily basis. Through outreach, education, and action, we can equip people with the right tools to be proactive in their communities.
Life is not what comes through your social media feeds, people. I've been getting these retro 80s AI generated scenes lately on my Instagram feed, right? It's the girls with the big hairdos and the neon colors walking through the high school halls, meeting up with guys in their beat it style jackets with the zippers, gleefully planning a trip to the mall. Yeah, and you know what else? The teacher showed us horrific videos in health class about STDs and drunk driving accidents. So there's that. It wasn't all like some romantic John Hughes film, people. Then, like now, everyone has struggles, everyone has problems.
If you or anyone you know has found themselves in that dark place where hope seems lost, please visit Hope for the Day via the links below and take advantage of their amazing resources. And always remember, it's okay to be not okay.
And speaking of horrific videos, I think it's time. Hit it.
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
You have a cheat sheet today?
Don't, because
Okay.
guess what? This is all Baltimore stuff, so I'm guessing you'll go 4 for 4 here because
God.
you're Baltimore.
No one ever goes 4 for 4 in obnoxious trivia, but go ahead.
All right. In 1905, Loudon Park Cemetery became the first cemetery in America to have its own what? A resident stone carver living in a mausoleum. B, a private trolley system for up to 30 mourners. C, a luxury horse-drawn hearse fleet for the casket and family. Or D, a nightly lit gas lamp system over every grave to scare off would-be robbers.
Loudon Park Cemetery. I'm going to go with a resident stone carver.
No, it wasn't that weird, but they did have a private trolley system for up to 30 mourners.
Trolley system.
Yeah, back then there weren't a lot of cars, and it was kind of a long walk through the cemetery.
They had like rails and everything?
They had rails
Wow.
and a trolley that could take you and all your up to 30 mourners back to the burial place.
And then later they installed a free salad bar. That was really good. Oh.
There's a little bit of it left, but of course most of it has been removed. Back in 1905, not a whole lot of people were driving.
Okay, number 2.
From 1911 to 1936, Baltimore's iconic Broma Seltzer Tower featured a giant rotating blue bottle on its roof. Why was it removed? A, sea captains complained the glowing bottle was distracting as they pulled into the harbor. B, the company had to save money after changing the Broma Seltzer formula by removing 2 toxic ingredients. C, a lightning strike shattered the bottle and several people on the ground were cut by the glass. Or D, the rotating bottle gears and years of weather were cracking the tower's masonry.
Could be any of those. I'm going to say A, the sea captains.
No, but they actually did use it as a guide when getting into Baltimore.
really?
It was so bright. The correct answer is D. The rotating bottle gears and years of weather were actually cracking the masonry and making the building unsafe. So they took it down. It was actually made the same blue as the Broma Seltzer.
I've seen it with the blue bottle. Yeah, I've
bottles.
seen that.
But they did originally have toxic ingredients as part of its formula that they
Right.
eventually took out. Broma Seltzer actually makes its way into a couple of songs and things too.
Apparently, I don't know Baltimore at all. All right. Number 3.
One of Baltimore's most famous landmarks, the 234-foot Phoenix Shot Tower, was built in 1828 without what? A, workers using any exterior scaffolding during the construction. B, a lightning rod, which later caused the tower to catch fire. C, a foundation deeper than 10 feet. Or D, any windows at all.
D, any windows at all?
There are windows in the shot tower. They're on the side where the stairs go up because the shot tower, for those of you who don't know, it's this big tower. And the idea was to take molten balls of steel and drop them. And as they shot through the air, they would form a perfect bullet. And at the bottom, they would fall into water. However, it's A, the workers built it without using any exterior scaffolding during its construction. They literally just went brick by brick.
Oh, wow.
As they went up.
I did not know
And
that.
then built the stairs as they went up, so there was no need for scaffolding.
Okay,
It did catch fire, but it wasn't because it didn't have a fire lightning rod.
Okay. Let's reel this in. This is turning out to be great.
And Baltimore guy. For decades, an unknown visitor known as the Poe Toaster honored Edgar Allan Poe every January 19th, Poe's birthday, by leaving what at his grave in Baltimore? A, 3 roses and a bottle of cognac. B, a raven feather and a bottle of whiskey. C, a bottle of absinthe and a black candle. Or D, a handwritten poem and a natty bow beer.
This was a gift. It's A.
You are 100% correct. It was
That one I do know.
Yeah.
That one I do know, yes.
Seriously, The person stopped coming, so they don't know if that
I heard
person
about that.
passed. And then there were some fake
I
toasters.
remember this. This was in the paper. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think as of recent years,
It's amazing.
back up.
Things that actually happened during my lifetime, I remember. 1931, not so much. I actually did know that last one.
Like Edgar Allan Poe over Granddaddy Poe.
No, it may have killed him early, you know. So, okay. That was very good, actually. That were some good questions. Okay, it's time for our Snaggletune, and this is called
Sidewalk, chalk, and Chardonnay. If you ever doubt France's love affair with wine, here's a fun little historical hangover. Until 1956, French schools routinely served wine to children during lunch. Not a sip at family dinner or a tiny taste during a holiday. A Capri Sun of vino as a side of school lunch. Up to half a liter per day. It was considered a healthy source of energy, deeply rooted in French culture, and, in some places, people even argued that it was safer than the local tap water.
Hold on, safer than the tap water? What exactly was going on with the tap water? Maybe instead of handing second graders a pint of Merlot, let's bite the bullet and get Roto-Rooter on the horn. The photos and film footage are amazing because nobody acts like it's strange. To them, it was just a part of life. Little Gerard toasting his victory in Duck Duck Goose, while Danielle and Catherine discuss recipes and the inadequacy of their poetry instructor over small glasses of sherry.
So, in the US, kids are banging out stickball games and guzzling chocolate milk. Over in France, they're endeavoring to find whether rosé or Pinot Noir goes best with ratatouille. Of course, nap time probably went a lot smoother.
Speculating that there may have been a few doses of liquid courage during the afternoon classes. Literature class took a lively turn this afternoon as young Toulouse declared, Miss Delphossie, isn't it possible that Mersat shot the Arab due to simple heat stroke and not some grand anarchist plan?
Later that same day, Renee, Anne, and Jean-Pierre used trays from the school's lunchroom to craft splendid little mock guillotines out in the schoolyard. The speeches were markedly poignant. It's a far, far better rest I go to than I have ever known. Apparently, he'd been sentenced to death for swiping Bernard's pommes frites. Hey, fair is fair.
The phase out happened gradually. In the mid 1950s, Prime Minister Pierre Mendès banned alcohol for children under 14, replacing it with milk and more sugar. Wait, sugar? So the government's solution was maybe wine isn't the best for kids, so let's give them a boost of hyperactivity as opposed to finding them face down on their croissants. It took until 1981 for France to finally ban alcohol from high schools altogether, officially ending the tradition of the lunchtime cocktail hour.
So the next time you're a little weary, pushing to get to the end of month report submitted on time, imagine yourself trying to remember the rules of French conjugation while your brain swoons from a half liter of Cabernet Sauvignon you downed in the schoolyard.
Drunk children, really?
Really happened.
It just gets worse and worse.
Because I remember thinking, wow, we just missed the cut if they had wine over there till 1981 if we had lived in France.
I had a very, very difficult time creating those slides. I hope you're all very grateful. Anyway, let's play a song. This is Digital Locus. I think we have some coffee AM here.
Coffee AM, we just did a little order this week, and they have changed their bags slightly. This is still a whole pound of coffee in here. It just it's a little bit more vacuum
Yeah, I think they
sealed.
vacuum packed it or something.
Yeah, it's a little bit
You could build a house with these things, you know?
we try.
Yeah.
A little mortar. Anyway, still the same great coffee, still roasted when you place your order. As you can tell, it says Mark and Stace on the bag, so you know this was made just for us. This is a hot fudge brownie coffee.
Yum.
We currently have an orange coconut we are enjoying upstairs. And we also selected a Calypso cream in these new brick style bags. They've got tons, pages and pages of flavors. So get over there. I happen to order, they run specials. It's a points program. So once you get so many points, you can get money off your order. And they happen to be running a special when I placed this order that your points were worth double. It was a today only special.
Speaking of pet peeves, turned out that Stace and I had to have a serious discussion about filter placement.
I think I just need to get a new coffee maker.
It's grounds for divorce. Sorry.
To be fair, I get up very early and may or may not be awake.
It's okay.
Use our link. It will save you off your first order, and you too can start getting points towards delicious coffee FedEx to your door.
Hail the
right
brick.
to Georgia.
Hail the brick. Yes. Okay, it's time for Bombastic Plastic.
Bombastic.
Bombastic!
Went a little haywire this week, so we're going to compare two metal compilations from the early 2000s. Peaceville's Loud, Proud Punkin' Metal from 2006 and Nuclear Blasts Blasting Your Ears from 2004. So I was thinking today about movies that are based on making a very difficult choice. And naturally, the one that I fixated on was Psycho. Marion Crane does not make good decisions. First, she falls for Sam Loomis, a man that tells her to her face during the first part of the film he's too deep in debt to consider marrying her. Now, if you're a man and you didn't realize this, it's probably because you were so bewitched by watching Janet Leigh's bra modeling to follow the plot. Anyway, so then, as a remedy to Sam's issues, she chooses to steal a large sum of money from her employer and then take a 500-mile jaunt to Southern California. Call it a feminist view, but has it occurred to anyone that if Sam hustled a little more at the hardware store, maybe moved a few more lawnmowers, get the garden tool sales a-flowing, maybe Marion wouldn't have had to steal $40,000? I mean, some kind of flash sale on garden shears or drywall screws could have been the difference between Here Comes the Bride and the most infamous shower renovation in movie history, if you know what I mean.
Speaking of tough choices, I recently had the idea of reviewing two metal compilations I received over 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm a little behind on promos, it seems. One from German label Nuclear Blast, circa 2004, and the other from the UK imprint Peaceville from 2006. Both labels were actually started in the 80s from humble punk rock ambitions, but the critical decade for each was the 90s, when the revolution of metal acts from goth, death, black, and thrash metal fortified both labels' roster with legend.
I do have to say, it's very interesting that Peaceville and Nuclear Blast, and I'm reading a book about Noise Records, all tried to start off as punk labels, but there's no money to be made. Metalheads are the ones that collect multiple formats. Everybody switched to metal because punk's got that whole, it's a dirty word to make money, make a profit, whatever. Anyway.
The Peaceville compilation consists of 15 songs, most focused on 2005-2006 releases, with a few throwbacks thrown in for good measure. Black metal is well represented between evil, crackly tracks from the likes of Old, Gallhammer, Aura Noir, and Crust Phase Darkthrone. The disc goes a long way to demonstrate the diverse nature of Peaceville's artists.
The filthy death metal of Abscess and Autopsy is worlds away from the doomy vibes of Catatonia's Soil Song and the Pentagram classic Bride of Evil. It's kind of cheating, though, because that came out in 1994, so it's over 10 years old. Anyway, the gothy stuff on this one really seems to carry the day, from the gorgeously gloomy Aquamarine from Italian goth proggers November to the always original and highly addictive Mater Mortem, to perhaps the finest track on the disc, the band The Provenance, featuring the rollicking goth metal nugget From the Barricades. Vocalist Emma Hellstrom has never sounded so good. Let's hear a little bit of The Provenance's From the Barricades.
course, Nuclear Blast's roster was teeming with quality artists as well in the early noughties. Thrash revival is well represented between reunion-era Death Angel Prophecy to the Teutonic attack of Destruction's Desecrators of the New Age. And who could forget the impact of Exodus' massive Tempo of the Damned? Even dew-scented Cities of the Dead uncorks riffing straight out of the Slayer camp circa 1988. In terms of the Devil's good music, solid entries from Demi Burgur, Craveworm, and of course the mighty Gorgoth with Forces of Satan Storms. The label clearly knows its epic style power metal as well, judging from Edgy's King of Fools and the rainbow flavored stunner Drawn to the Flame from Finnish God's Thunderstone. My only complaint with this compilation is the production style. There's a tickiness to the drums and a brick wall vibe to the guitar tones that suggests the Nuclear Blast template as a concept of the period.
In the final comparison, Peaceville wins out in terms of variety. Its colorful goth and doom entries alongside the variety in production and melodic tendencies, demonstrating a diverse collection of artists. Nuclear Blast demonstrates a no BS, down the middle metal collection, riffy, punchy, and using well-regarded thrash revival artists as a cornerstone. Choose your compilation wisely, people, and remember, a little push on the mulch and bird feed could prevent you from nibbling sandwiches in a dark parlor surrounded by stuffed birds with a true mama's boy that, remarkably, is still single. Let's hear Hypocrisy's The Departure. Oh, you want to do the anyway?
Was really interested to kind of pick the brain of all four of these guys.
Old band showed up. I love that.
Yeah, did not disappoint.
Some in cars. Yes.
Really enjoyed this album. Really enjoyed these guys. I hope to catch them out there live one day. I think it'd be well worth the price of admission.
That's right. Take it away.
So why don't you kind of go around and introduce yourself, say what you do in the band, and maybe what was your first extreme metal band that you liked that kind of got you into things?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. On my screen, it's left to right with me on first, so I'll
Okay.
start, I guess. So yeah, I'm Pat Hawkins. I'm a guitar player. Do a fair amount of the composition and riffs and stuff in the band, and play a lot of the solos. So yeah, first extreme metal. I think the three I hit at like right around the same time were The Sound of Perseverance, Blackwater Park. So those are both pretty like accessible entry level. And then Lashed to the Slave Stick had just come out as a new Nile. So I heard it, and at that point I was like, I was at like kind of the Slayer level, and I was like, wow, this guy's double bass is even cooler, and that kind of got me going.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good picks.
We love Nile, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next?
Cory Peterson. I sing and play bass. I
Okay.
used to only sing. I took over bass in 2019, 18. First band I was into was Napalm Death. So
Nice. Okay.
I think we saw
I'm
both
Terrell.
Terrell and Napalm Death this year at MDL.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
like we did.
Oh yeah, missed them. But yeah, I'm Terrell Grannum, the other guitarist in the band. Also do a lot of like the production stuff behind the scenes. First extreme metal band I would say that got me more into the death metal side of things would be Death. Just hearing the flattening of emotions, the double bass in the beginning of that song kind of just like instantly drew me in. And I got really big into Morbid Angel, Altars of Madness, just to start.
Oh, yeah.
But those were my first exposures. Obviously, I got, the peripheral exposures, like some metalcore stuff like Shadows Fall, maybe some post-hardcore too through video games. Um, I didn't really grow up with new metal,
Okay.
but I heard of it. Like I knew about Slipknot, I knew about Limp Bizkit and all that stuff. But I kind of just got into it through video games and just like doing my own little side research, deep diving from early rock and punk and just getting heavier and heavier and heavier.
Yeah, I remember when first I heard Altars, when I heard Sandoval the first time, I called up my friend and I was like, this guy's more brutal than Dave Lombardo. And he was like, get the fuck out of here. No way, So no.
Nice. And I'm my name is Nick Crifo. I'm the drummer. And my first real death metal song album that I heard was actually a song was Decapitated's Eternity Too Short off of oh, I forget what the album's called, but once I heard that, a buddy of mine in actually sixth grade made me a mixtape, and that was the first song.
That's
And
great. Yeah.
once I heard that, I was like, holy shit, this is stuff like this is possible, I mean, being a little
Yeah.
kid, it's like, holy cow. And then Morbid Angel Heretic album, that drum check that Pete Sandoval does, that was like a big like mind blower for myself. So yeah, just for the death metal stuff, but then like, got into Lamb of God, Pantera, stuff like that before that. But like real death metal stuff, Morbid Angel, Decapitated, Death, what was it? Scavengers of Human Sorrow, I think the song is called. Those were my first, introductions to what could be.
All right. So before we get too deep into the interview, let's settle a debate for Mark and I. How do you pronounce the band name with that kind of special old English turn in there? Does it affect the spelling? Is it THAETAS?
Yeah, you could say THAETAS. It's really, THAETAS. THAETAS is usually how we mostly say it. I
Okay.
Yeah,
definitely,
generally.
when I like pitched the AE thing, I definitely had like fake Greek word in mind. So THAETAS was
Okay.
kind of what I had mentally in mind.
Yeah.
But then other people were butchering it in other ways, and we were like, no, THAETAS is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
easiest. It's just the easiest thing. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Fake word.
I always said THAETAS, but then whenever people would write it back to me in like a message or something, it would be US. So then I started doing the THAETAS thing,
Yeah.
which just to kind of like have people spell it right, like
Yeah.
hashtag THAETAS, and then it disappears. So,
I like
yeah.
both. I like both.
You
Yeah.
ever had it interviewed at a have you ever had anyone introduce you at a venue and completely butcher it? It was like, what did they just say?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. It's even
Unbelievable.
appeared incorrect on like show flyers and stuff when people type it out and it's like, dude, like it's right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have the thing that happens at work sometimes where somebody will type your name into an email, but somehow spell it wrong in the body of the email. So I have like long-term people that I know
Oh,
that
wow.
still spell it with the U, and it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really acknowledge it. I just kind of just say it normally or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. We had Don from Nunslaughter on the show, and he said someone pronounced the name of the band Nunslaughter.
Oh my God.
What?
I've heard
Jesus.
that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
have heard that one too.
I had never thought of it. I was like, oh my God, it's actually spelled that way. Wow. Okay.
Mm.
So
That's funny.
Or for PR reasons, they had to have it up on a marquee as NON slaughter. I was like, really?
yeah.
Oh wow.
Can't
Yeah,
upset the kiddos.
we're anti-slaughter, we're non-slaughter.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been 6 years since your last full-length album. Was the writing process kind of done over their years, slowly accumulating, or was there a particular event that you were like, now it's time to make a new record?
We
I could
were
go into
already
that.
writing new songs
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
point. And even with the lineup change, we already had like one or two songs that we'd started when like the album was about to come out. So
Yeah,
And those
definitely.
two
Like,
songs, by the way, which I think were The End of History and For the Hope to Void, those were the first two songs we were working on. And I would say like two-thirds of those were at least the guitar parts, were the bulk of which was written before THAETAS existed as a band. So, like, this whole thing is like a continuum of musical stuff that we had.
Wow.
It's kind of been brewing for a while.
Hmm.
Yep.
So, Corey, you were talking about kind of taking on bass. So when the old bassist left, were you immediately like, yeah, I'll do both? Or were you like, yeah, let's get another person? And then you were like, we don't need it. So you were going to tow his car?
Well, yeah, except dipshit forgot to put it in neutral. So I'm like giving it more and more gas. And then finally, the cable snaps and the truck goes right through the wall of the nursery.
My God, was the baby in there?
Well, actually, oh, hi.
We know you're here for a merry discussion with THAETAS, but just a quick aside. We do interviews like this every week on Snaggletooth Decay, like our fascinating chat with Alberto Martinez of the Mexican death thrash band Mortuary, that includes stories about opening for Slayer back in the day, and we even get into some cults and some Catholicism humor.
Or our recent interview with UK avant-garde black metal band A Forest of Stars, which includes a merry round of blasphemy monikers, and there's even a bit of a Fairport convention geek out. So be sure to subscribe today because there's seemingly no end to our wacky hijinks, week to week. And now back to THAETAS.
Yeah, I was worried about it at first. I didn't really want to do it. We tried out a friend of ours and he couldn't do it. And I was like, I'll try it. And it worked out. So
He can play
Yeah,
everything, so don't let him fool you that he couldn't play.
Yeah.
Because he could play
Yeah.
the drums, guitar, vocals, bass. He could do it all. So we were like, you got to do it. Not really, you got to do it, but
Yeah.
it would be best if you did it, and it stuck.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know if I could do this. But then he just starts playing the songs on bass and doing vocals at the same time. And he's never done it before, but he just did it. That's like, well,
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. It was very much like, oh man, let me give it a shot. It's kind of weak. And I'm like, dude, you learned the song like 10 songs like 2 weeks ago. Like, you're not missing anything. Like it's good,
He's a natural.
That's the way Corey's always been. It's like, oh, I haven't played drums in 10 years. Hold on. And it's
Yeah. Like,
oh, okay.
I am retired though.
Sure.
Yeah.
I really like the cover art of this one. It immediately gives you the feeling of being consumed by this massive decaying structure, which is made of dead bodies. It reminded me a little bit if you've seen the Joe Hill series Nosferatu. They have to go over this covered bridge and do this like alternate universe, and it's
wow.
like all decaying and bats. And I don't know why that drew to mind. Did you have the cover art commissioned, or was it something you just saw and you're like, we got to have this?
We commissioned it. It was so we commissioned the first record too. And I kind of was thinking like between the couple of demos and like the first album, it seemed like we had kind of stumbled onto weird, surrealist, but not super fantastical, but just slightly off kind of surrealist landscapes as kind of a theme. So I was like, well, let's see if I could think of something in that. And kept trying to think of something. And basically, I was stuck in traffic on the Queensboro Bridge on the lower level. And I was like, it felt like it was going on forever. And I was kind of in the mind of like looking around trying to find stuff. And I was like, if this literally did go on forever, that would be like the worst thing I could ever imagine. That'd be pretty death metal. So, because that's kind of what it feels like. And and it was like, oh, it could even kind of tie in the first one, like the city in the background could almost maybe be um related to or the same city from the first one or something like that. And then I kind of pitched that. Well, like, yeah, maybe let's see how that looks. And then Terrell had kind of the idea of there being a cave kind of distantly in the middle, kind of like how in the first one, like it's a city, but if you look at some of the stuff in the foreground, it's kind of like ancient buildings and stuff. It's not like a real place. So this is kind of the same. It like devolves into this back in time nature, heart of darkness thing, but in a tunnel. So yeah, and we always liked John Zig from Consume the Forsaken, and you know, all the rest of it, Defeated Sanity covers he's done over the years. And so, you know, just wanted that very brutal, almost monochrome kind of
That New
look,
York
just a
look.
very dark.
The
Yeah,
New
that's
York look.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of Effigy of the Forgotten was the first thing I thought of when I saw it.
Yes.
It really
Yes.
reminded me of
Yep.
that
Nice.
style, you know.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
That's awesome.
I just want to add a little bit to that too. Like I think the art choice and direction kind of reflects the musical direction of the band, because we went with Paolo Girardi for the first one, John Zick for the second one. But when you look back at both covers, like they're atypical for their normal style. They have the same color palette, same kind of vibe, but we wanted to do something that was deliberately different but familiar. And that's kind of, I feel like, what we do with our riffs and our songs. It's death metal, but it's different enough where it's like, okay, it's not just like the run of the mill choice or the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, I love when a band has unified album covers. I always think, you know, like Voivod, you know, this band has got their shit together, you know, like they've got it planned out, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost wish Morbid Angel didn't already do the alphabetical thing, because like that's the coolest of it. You know?
Or Psy with their titles
True.
SIGH, SIGH.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Madame Mortem does the same thing, and we didn't realize that either.
Yeah.
They-
Oh yeah, they do.
It's very
That's
subtle.
a good
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of irredeemable. It just seems like something beyond correction, salvation. Do you think our current age is worse than the dark ages? Not because we should know better, or do you think every generation thinks that this is the worst time ever?
I feel
Well,
like it kind of is like what you just said, where it's the worst because we're here.
Yes.
Last times were probably worse, but we weren't there.
Yeah, I think every generation has its own type of. That's just my personal philosophy. I think we make certain advancements, but like we're cyclically doing like the same thing we've always done. Like
Yeah.
teenagers of the past are always going to be the teenagers of the future. They're just going to be like contrarian and disappointing parents, no matter what what it looks like, whether it's Stone Age or just floating brains with AI. You know,
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, it is kind of like an eternal thing. I mean, the first album definitely shrines to absurdity. It's like, you know, the mix of old and new is kind of intentionally like, yeah, like we're always ridiculous. Like it's always like this, you know, just kind of bleak in that way. Yeah, I guess irredeemable age sounds more immediate, but like, I don't know. Like, is the current time period worse than, I don't know, 540 AD? Probably not.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's been
Yeah.
plagues and shit. It's, you know,
Right.
we're pretty comfortable comparatively, but you know, there's definitely some stuff that I don't know. There's these moments that seem worse than others, and maybe that's where we
Yeah.
are right now.
Which is like what
Yeah,
I
when
always tell people is that when I came up with the title, it was like when people look back at this time, what are they gonna think?
Right.
Probably not very good.
Yeah.
No, it always cracks me up. In one hand, we're like, Me Too movement, recycling, bomb them. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. How do you reconcile that? I don't understand.
Granted, you have a bunch of kids reminiscing about 2016 right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 steps forward, 1 step back type deal, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the Victorian age is charming and all, but I could have done without like the bubonic plague and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you always lose me at medical technology. I'll take medical technology now.
Yeah.
I don't need polio, or I don't care how charming the time was, you know? So I wouldn't change
You
it.
know, we were discovering we always do like a little bit, and we did this bit because before in the Roman age, like they had public latrines,
God.
but
Oh, you're gonna
basically
go there.
they used the sponge on a stick to kind of, you know, if they had to, you know, clean.
I didn't have
up.
toilet paper, yeah.
But it was communal. Like you put that thing like back like a toilet brush. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh
oh,
no.
no, thank you.
Yeah. Again, I like modern
Yeah.
technology, you know.
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Or a leaf or a piece of whatever.
Whatever you could find. Yeah.
Your hand.
Hmm.
Note to self: if I time travel back to Romans, I'm bringing the
Bring
fancy
some
stuff.
toilet paper. Yeah.
I was talking to Ralph from Haunted Hotel, and he was saying we could have stopped at GPS. We didn't need anything else after that.
It's kind of like that one, yeah.
Yeah.
GPS is bad. I like work and like it's a big and like place where there's got shops and offices. 100% of my lunch deliveries get lost because as soon as you get in the complex, it goes things like return to the route, make
You
a
are
U-turn,
here, you
turn
know, and
around.
it's like you know.
No. And then you get dependent on that and that doesn't work. It's like, what do I do now?
Oh boy.
Oh, that's true.
So I always thought your music feels more philosophical and more than simply aggressive. Are there particular artists that kind of influence you when you're writing?
Yeah, I'll let
That's tough
Cory
because
and Pat, yeah, handle that one.
yeah, I feel like I kind of write the music without usually without thinking of any particular imagery. For some reason, I was in a phase where I was kind of interested in like steppe nomadic tribes and shit. And like the title track, Irredeemable Age, I did kind of imagine like an endless steppe when I was trying to come up with those gloomy kind of riffs. There's like particular cases, I guess, like The End of History is a literary reference. The last two songs, I came up with one of the names, Terrell came up with the others, but they're both biblical references. But I will say, like, I think we came up with those song titles after the fact. It was like, what's something that kind of fits this? It wasn't really going into it as a theme. So, yeah, I definitely influenced by literature and read a lot of nonfiction or whatever, but I don't know that it informs the music so much until we kind of slap some names on it later.
You ever end up with some wonky working titles till you come up with the last one?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why some of these songs I don't know as the full, album name because we have a joke name that we'll call, like
Yeah.
Pillars of Vault we called Singlefoot. It's like which one's that when we go play it? It's like, oh, okay.
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, the first
Which is
album
probably
was
still
like
better than the number thing we had going before, but
exactly. Well, I mean, I always love numbers. That's just so simple and
Yeah.
intuitive to me. With the
I
second
like the
album, we just had
numbers.
like weird nicknames. I know personally, when I think of song titles, I like philosophical stuff, but I tend to like alliteration and plays on words, things that were kind of like stick in your head. So Pat mentioned, like the Pillars of Fault thing. That's not necessarily alliteration, but I saw some cool stalactites, and they kind of look like salt pillars. And then I thought of Sodom and Gomorrah, Pillars of Fault. You're feeling guilty for all your sins and your fornications. How you doing? But yeah, just it just like Crifo said, like we tend to think of like the working title name a little more
Yeah.
than the official sometimes.
The goofy name, the one that we're whispering, which song is it? Oh, it's blah,
Right.
blah, blah,
You have to do that on stage. You have to like lean over and go, "It's a wounded kitten."
Oh
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
yeah. No, it's tricky. I thought the numbers they were always easier to remember for me, but like we got into the double digits, so it was like I don't know, this is kind of getting ridiculous. But then like all the joke names kind of sounded the same too, and then they would kind of change too. So like Singlefoot turned into like the Slam Before Time or something, and it was like there's way too many syllables to say quickly. So then I don't know. And then like there were like three or four with slam puns, and we'd all start playing a different song at the
Yeah,
same
those
time. So it
Yeah.
actually kind of helps me remember the names of these songs because like the the joke names got to be a little non-functional after a
Yeah.
while, I gotta say. But
What's that band from West Virginia, Karma to Burn? All their songs are numbers, like an album, like no, track 1, 19, track 2, 26.
yeah,
I don't know how they would keep track of that.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. I'd get so
no,
Can't
screwed up.
imagine.
yeah.
Yeah. They
I
have
get
like
then
4
with
screwed
the
up
albums
now
bands
like
that use
that.
the
sometimes.
Roman numerals like Rorcal, I don't know if they do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I love it. So when you were recording, you did this kind of track by track when you
Yes.
recorded it. So What instrument or vocal part was the biggest challenge to capture the way you envisioned it, and what came together surprisingly easily for you? Might be different answers.
So for myself, this album and the previous one, actually everything we've done, we've always done record the drums first. You know, they'll do scratch track, you know, guitars as I'm laying down my final you know, drum, you know, beat, whatever. And I believe that, you know, it's once we have that set, you know, everybody just comes in on their own, you know, leisurely. That's why it took 6 years. And you know, we get it done when we can, and yeah, hope everybody liked it, you know.
Yeah, it's not to a click, but I guess just from lessons and everything else, like Nick's very like, you know, so even if we have a couple of takes, it's kind of amazing how like, you know, it's like, oh, the second take, this part was better than the other one, but I like the ending of the other one. They're consistent enough where actually without a lot of editing and stuff, we could kind of swap them out. So even without a click, like really consistent. So I mean the drums is tough because it's, you know, you don't want to do a lot of editing. You want it to sound natural, whatever. But
Yeah.
it probably took like a couple of days, you know. It wasn't that bad.
Yep.
So yeah, but that, I don't know. The drum sound is so important to the way things come together. You know, there's less electronics in between what ends up happening at the end. So that's
Yeah, and
always
your
the
sound
basis.
is really consistent. I hate like a where you can't hear things. You can hear everything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, production's great.
The one thing I noticed is how the album opens and closes with those solitary bass notes, almost kind of bookending. Was that intentional or was that just how it happened?
You know, it's just how it happened
I
because
never
we
noticed.
were like
It does.
agonizing over the song order for quite some time, actually. And when we decided to end with that song, it just so happened that that was how that song ended. But like originally, I was saying the title track should be at the end, and then we put it in the middle instead.
Yeah, I never realized that
Yeah.
until just now. It
Yeah.
was the it's the parts in the song were intentional, but the book ending wasn't.
Yeah, that's why I'm a big bass girl, so I always gravitate right there.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, I'm probably going to say the name of the song wrong, but the one called, I think it's Dukkha. Which one is, who's
It's
reading?
basically how you say it. So,
All right, who's coming up with Buddhist concepts in the band? Like who's
Cory.
okay. So here's
Cory.
the thing
Okay.
about that. Right. Here's the
Right.
thing about that. Ready? So the word Duke. Well, okay. I think no. I forget what language it is, but it means to make fire. But also, it is an abbreviation for dig him up, kill him again.
Okay. I like the second one better. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
At the end of that track, it sounds like a train or a subway. What kind of symbolism did that bring in?
We're
That's
rolling
kind
back
of
into town with another one.
yeah.
I
No,
think.
Kind of
that,
connected to the first album in a way.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I had some train noises I did weave into the first album, but this was the only sample, and it kind of reminds us of a venue we played a bunch recently called the Broadway, where there's an overhead train just right next door, and we kind of wanted to capture that exact sound. I think Crifo mentioned it after one of our shows there. So I found that track, and I kind of weaved it in with the effects and like, you know, the fade out into the next one. And what's cool is the next song, Summers of Hate, the name I called it Chun Chun or Chun Chun because that's kind of how it starts. Kind of sounds like a little chugga chugga with the train. We all kind of connected all together. So I tried to make the effect of the stopping train, the da da, into like the opening palm mutes of the next song.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we started playing there a bunch too when we first started pulling some of this material in live. So like we just started playing Chun Chun live, and we kept walking outside, and there was the overhead train, and I don't know, it was just kind of was
Yeah.
floating around in the background.
I always liked I used to have to take the metro sometimes, and it's always so dark down there. And when the train's coming and the lights start to kind of like dim, and
Yeah.
it always reminds me of that frickin' scene from Obsession. I'm like, oh my God, just get on the train.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. So for the hope devoid, it sounds like you're offering a little bit of solace to those who have lost hope, or is it more kind of the acknowledgement that some wounds can't be healed?
It's mostly about how people who maybe didn't notice before are starting to notice now that things are kind of going wrong. And it's like, yeah, we told you before, you're not alone. So
I also like how you kind of mix different things in. I with Digital Locust, it's like you're going crazy blast beats, and it almost goes like sideways into this jazz shuffle for the drums. Is there a jazz background that maybe lurks behind you guys?
Come
Um, for myself, I took drum lessons from a Berkeley School of music graduate for around 6 years.
wow.
Um, I, s- I started playing drums when I was 11, and when I was like 16 or 17, I got a double bass pedal for Christmas, and planned on going to music school and being a music student, and getting a double bass pedal kind of killed that dream for me because I just wanted to play fast. And yeah, so yeah,
Such an inspirational story.
yes, it is.
Did you have any teachers like the dude in Whiplash?
Uh
What a great movie.
not as intense, but yes, very, you're not playing this right. Play it slower. This is
Okay.
how you play it. It's
Right. Okay.
you're wasting my time and I'm wasting yours type thing. So it's like, if we're
Nobody threw a cymbal at your head.
no, no.
That's a good
It's
thing.
always been fun, It's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I never really had any formal training per se, but my dad played guitar his whole life, and like, into somewhat technical varieties. So, like, I grew up around like a lot of the mainstay stuff was like, the Allman Brothers or whatever. But I also would hear like Robin Ford, Larry Carlton, Steve Morse, Eric Johnson, like those types of players. And some of it I gravitated to a little bit more later, and it kind of clicked. So it was like trying to utilize some of the at least the physical techniques, if not some of the mental stuff, in this kind of a context.
I was gonna say personally, I don't have any jazz training, but I'd say we're all kind of fans of jazz adjacent music, fusion adjacent bands. So like Cynic, we all love Cynic and
Yeah,
Atheist.
Oh,
Um, I
Mahavishnu even.
Mahavishnu, I kind of just put an intern onto that one. Like I had to put him on the right track. But one thing I did grow up with was not real jazz, but there was a radio station called CD 101.9 here
oh
back in the
boy,
day, like
here we go.
20 something years ago. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Cory, but
Yeah,
it developed. They would play stuff like
I remember
Kenny
that.
G. So like the very light elevator music that you kind of start getting your ear towards, and then that's kind of where I got obsessed with Sade. But then I'll stop there with Sade.
Hey, Kenny G, the Imperial Triumphant member.
yeah. Well,
Exactly.
he wasn't on the last album, but he was on 2 albums ago.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
And his
Yes.
'Cause I
son,
remember, like,
was in the band.
Yes.
Yeah.
when the
Same
new one
song.
came out, I was like, what kind of death metal am I going to listen to at the dentist now? Because there's no Kenny G on this. You know what I mean? Like,
I also love it in For the Hope Devoid. The guitar solo feels so frantic and relentless.
then there's that change in the middle.
Oh yeah, and then
It's real-
just as relentless as the blast beats. But in the middle of all that chaos, you kind of get these shimmering, dreamlike passes that you keep weaving into that.
Yeah.
Um, were those sections meant to kind of heighten the impact or kind of be a palate cleanser? And how did you make that sound?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a palate cleanser, like I don't know. We play technical stuff, but I'm always cognizant of like and just kind of picture like what I would want to listen to. You know, if it's a stream of notes endlessly, it does kind of get to, you know,
Yeah.
you stop noticing the cool stuff after a while. So that's in there. I always like those really contrasting bands too. Like, I mean, I mentioned Opeth before, but like Acre Cocky or Lacathia Flame and all that kind of a thing. Plus, it's just like, I don't know, like we don't go as far as like Opeth is, you know, nowhere close to it. But I like the idea of bringing in some sounds that aren't just death metal. You know, like the guitar can do a lot of things other than just a super brutal chug. So you know, try to intersperse some other stuff in there. So yeah, I guess kind of a palate cleanser. As far as where the sound comes from, like I don't know. It was pretty direct, actually. Like it's just a Marshall clean tone coming out of a carbon. So yeah,
Hmm.
I do think there's maybe some layers with like there's like an analog delay pedal, but it's nothing crazy. Like you know stuff you've probably seen a million times. The one production trick is I think there's a couple different clean layers with different pickups selected. Um, at the same time. So that's a little artificial, but you know, that has like more of a subtle impact than anything.
I'd prefer the way you guys do it. You kind of sneak it in there and then it's like right back
Yeah,
in and then sneak it back in there and right back
yeah,
in
yeah,
rather than these long.
Yeah, when you guys are putting leads
yeah.
together, do you write out like a beginning, a middle, and an end, or does it kind of like just you just jam on it, or is it I guess a combination?
Um, it's mostly written out. You know, like I'll, you know, it won't be there when we first write the song. At practice, I'll just play like usually it's garbage, but like occasionally a phrase comes up and like there'll be a phone recording where I like hear the one part where I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta save that. And I can't figure out what I did because the recording quality is so shitty. But like I come up with something kind of similar. But yeah, mostly it's written out later on.
We've got some really wild leads in there for sure.
Thanks.
It's like, wow, that was the craziest guitar solo I've ever heard because I love how everything is a little off center. Is that like a tuning thing, or it almost sounds like a little bit of like a Doppler effect?
No, it's just all like
Depends.
composition and no, you know, like we don't tune in a particularly weird way actually. We're D standard, so it's not super low, it's not super weird. And yeah, it's just like no choice or whatever. So like daytime lantern, the trick is that like the riff under it is it's pretty much straight like the A harmonic minor. That's like the classic Yngwie Malmsteen. Almost every song is in A harmonic minor or a related key, and like you know, but the riff is sparse enough and it hangs on just like one or two notes. So like you can kind of switch to a major key and it still fits or like a related mode. You know, you can kind of hop between stuff and use these passing tones that don't belong to the same scale to make it sound a little outro, but that's yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of the idea.
I definitely agree. Like we don't do like super fixed chord progressions at times. So it's kind of like what's the tonal feel of a part.
Yeah.
That's at least that's how I kind of like wrote some of my stuff. And I definitely do take the beginning, middle, end, or at least discernible sections approach, like a song within a song for a solo. And
Yeah.
maybe I did one song that has like a little bit of like a tremolo whammy bar effect. I'm not sure if that's the Doppler effect you're mentioning.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, just we'd like to toss in weird stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that even that clean part at the beginning of Daytime Lantern, it sounds a little bit like a cat on a piano. It sounds a little drunk
Oh, I
or
remember you said
something.
that. I
Yeah.
remember when you said that.
Mm.
Um, how did you kind of come up with that? It almost sounds like it's like bloom, bloom, like a harp.
Yeah, it's the same thing as the distorted riff that comes in, like exactly, just exploiting the open strings, like where the notes happen to be. So it's a pretty straight up strum. Um, I think there's a little finger picking thingy, but it's mostly like straight up. Yeah, it's just the same thing as the riff that comes after it, and it was kind of like we listened to it was a very late edition because it was like we were listening to the stuff, trying to figure out what order to put the songs in, and it was like, wow, this record maybe is a little dense. Like maybe let's just and then I was listening to some other stuff that Colin produced, mostly just to provide feedback on the mix and on the Colored Sands record, they do the same thing where they play like a clean version of one of the riffs. It's kind of like a transition. It's not even an intro. It's just some sound effects that are mixed in at the end of one of the songs going into the other one. I can't remember which one anymore, but I was like, oh, let me just see if any of these songs kind of could fit that mentality. And yeah, that one kind of did. So that was kind of a last minute addition. It's just a solo acoustic guitar. Um, Colin probably added some cool effects, and I told him to just drench it in reverb and delay and stuff like that. Because the microphones I have to record acoustic, they like suck. They're like the $50 2-pack of microphones. But I was like, just put some effects on this that make it sound good. So
I love
yeah,
Colored
that's
Sands, even with the Hare Krishna lyrics. It's such a great record.
so good. Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cory, I love like your extended roars on like Summers of Hate, for instance. It almost feels like it's another instrument in the arrangement. It adds like a physical texture to the song.
A voice like a weapon.
My God.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite vocal techniques for creating these sounds, and how do you keep your voice healthy?
I can't really explain how I do this. Honestly, I really can't. Like when I joined the band, I just changed the way I was doing vocals because I was doing it wrong for years. Granted, I wasn't actually playing in bands like that, so it was okay. But I was just like, I don't want to keep asking people to do lows for me anymore. So I should figure out how to do this. And I kind of figured out how to do it. And um, you know,
And you do it well.
Yeah.
You have any pre-show rituals, honey and tea, or is it just go?
I use those vocal zone lozenges. Mikey from Opeth actually has advertised those, I think.
Okay.
We use those before and after.
Okay. Interesting.
And you used to do Yoo-Hoo. Drink Yoo-Hoo.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
We learned that from Big Will.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Will's thing, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, everybody needs a little something, whether it be, we've heard everything from somebody was, Bear Mace was telling us they eat Chef Boyardee
Ravioli.
out of the can.
Because it coats
Because it coats the throat.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably works good.
Nothing like a fresh can of Chef Boyardee.
That'd give me a stomach ache. I wouldn't want to play.
Yeah.
just don't mind the marinara breath. It's fine.
Right. Exactly.
So I love the playthrough video you did for Stretched Paradox that really highlights all the finger pulls, slides that kind of helped create the sound. Is your favorite way of kind of developing guitar techniques through watching others, experimentation, or something else? Or everything above?
That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely certain keys or scales or whatever that I kind of gravitate to. Every once in a while, I go through a phase where I'm like, I'm gonna pick a scale that I never used before, or just a weird kind of key with awkward fingerings to kind of make myself do something different as a creative constraint. I don't know. I mean, every once in a while, I hear a band and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to have that kind of a part or whatever. I think that happened a little bit more with the first album, which is like a classic debut album kind of thing. Like, oh, like we should have the part that's a triplet or this or that or the other thing. I don't know where this stuff came from this time. Really don't. I don't know. Terrell, what do you think?
No, I was gonna say I agree. It's more natural. And I was thinking about it recently. The first album is more deliberate. You're trying to it's like you're buttoning yourself up for an interview. You want to present yourself in a certain type of way. And last time we talked about this album, I was like, this is definitely the 30-plus-year-old album where you kind of just like accept yourself and you're like in your own lane, kind of just doing your own thing, and people may not like it, but this is us.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Guys got me thinking about paradoxes. I think my favorite one is the grandfather paradox. So see what your opinion on that is. That's when if you travel back in time and you prevent yourself from being born, is there a chance that you would never be able to do that anyway because you were never born?
That was in a show, wasn't it?
Nah, I
That's
know
a
what you
fun
mean.
one.
That was in a show. Okay.
It was either
Futurama.
Dark
No,
or the
it's not.
Umbrella Academy.
I think it was the Umbrella Academy. Yeah.
I
No,
wrote
it's
a
a good one
novel
to think
about that
about.
sort of thing on my other project.
Can you unbutterfly the butterfly effect?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. It gives you a headache right
Yeah.
away. You're just like, ah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Or you Marty McFly'd it, right?
Yeah, that definitely came to mind.
Yeah.
It's like at some point, one of these Terminator movies has to cancel the other one out.
Yeah.
They keep making them. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah.
it just spawns more.
You know,
Yeah.
Have you considered doing any visualizers on any of the songs as far as like creating a music video?
Cory kind of did
I'm
one
not.
for like it was more of a teaser, I guess.
Oh yeah, the
The
sometimes I'll do
RoboCop
these. Yeah, we'll do these edits when the album's about to come out. And I made one with a bunch of RoboCop clips for this album, and I should do a couple more. For a music video, I'm not sure where we would even start with that. I mean, it's hard enough trying to do them by yourself for your own things. So can never get each other in the same room.
No, that's true. There is a guy that I've worked with my other band, Reeking Aura, with this guy Craig Rossi, who's done a lot of like our visualizers for stuff like that. So I may see if he's down to do something, and just have some more content on hand, because that's what you got to do nowadays.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
If somebody
Yeah, I'd
put
be
a
open
gun
to
to
it.
your head and said you had to do a period piece, would you pick like, of course, money's no object, like an ancient civilization, the Renaissance period, or some bleak dystopian future?
Definitely samurai era.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wu
Didn't see
Tang.
that coming.
Wu Tang style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Feudal Japan is kind of sick. I can't lie. I was always at World War II.
Oh wow.
It's just, let's pick the worst time in history, I guess. No, I guess I like watching period pieces of stuff like that
Yeah.
more than being there.
I guess I was always like that one meme going around hit close to home. I was a big Roman Empire fan. But like, the parts you wouldn't really want to be in, like the crisis of the 3rd century or Justinian's wars or whatever.
Yeah.
Just bring
Sounds
toilet
cool,
paper.
Yeah, make sure you bring toilet paper. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a sponge on a stick.
My sponge.
Yeah, BYOS, bring your own sponge.
Yeah, every time I watch Game of Thrones, I'm like starting to convince myself that there were dragons in the medieval times for real. I don't know why. It's like it seems like it just fits, but I'm like, no, there weren't dragons. Yeah.
Okay. So we play a game on the show. The show is called the game is called Blaspheming Monikers. Okay. And here's how it works. I have 5 band names in front of me on this envelope. One of them is made up. So we'll go around the horn and see if you guys can figure out which one of these is not a real band. Okay. We'll just keep guessing until either you get it right or we run out of bands. Okay. All right. You said dragon, so we went with the dragon theme. All right. Number 1, Grandfather Dragon. Number 2, Dragon Wing Begonia. Number 3, War Dragon. Number 4, Mighty Dragon Lords of the Promised Land. And number 5, Drain the Dragon. Which one of those sounds like it might be fake?
I'm gonna go with War Dragon.
Wow, you got it right out of the blocks. Look at that.
Because it's like the
That's
meta.
not
It's like the
Really?
meta. No, because it's the most normal sounding one, so I figured it's got to be
exactly. Yeah.
I
You
was
got it.
thinking
All
that.
those other ones are real. Yeah.
No
It's so
way.
crazy, dude. It's so. Oh my god. What are
I
we
was gonna say
doing?
the second
We're
one.
sure that
What
must
are
have
we
existed.
doing? It's
Dragon
metal.
Wing. Yeah, Dragon Wing Begonia. They're from death metal from Virginia. I
No
don't know who
shit.
would.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like
Never heard of them.
No.
that
Sorry
sounds
if
like
you're
a
listening.
certain. That's like an
Who names their
artisanal
band?
wood you
Who
make
Who names their
cabinets
band
out of.
Drain the Dragon? I mean, that's just
That one's just
Yeah.
got to be a porno grind band.
it's
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Italian
to ask
Italian
my-
melodic death metal. So
Oh,
Italian.
come
Oh,
on.
Yeah.
okay.
I'm gonna have to
Everything
ask my
Italian's
buddy
a
in
little
Virginia
weird.
if he's ever had that first band at his venue.
Dragon. So you said Dragon Patagonia? No, let me stop.
Dragon Wing Patagonia. Yeah.
Drag-
Or Dragon
Dragon
Wing
Wing
Begonia
Patagonia.
is the
Dragon
Virginia death metal band. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Oh,
What the hell?
Kind of artsy, I guess.
Super specific.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's very specific.
Anyway.
not
Yeah.
taken. So it's fine.
True, it's hard.
So you have a record release show planned in August, with some looks like some local support band like Sploot, Vomit Fist, a Paleon Entity. I like that name too. So are those bands you've played with before, and do you know them well enough, to practical joke with, or who's the
Vomit
biggest groups
Fist,
that have-
Yeah.
we've known them for a while, but we haven't played with them since 2020, and that was the only show we got to play in 2020.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because
It was in like March or February or something. Or
Yeah.
It was January.
It was
Yeah.
January. What's hilarious too is the flyer for that is like two people taking a selfie with a giant wave like impending behind them, and it was like the first wave of Corona was just like on its way
Yeah.
over.
Oh, that was that
Yeah.
one. I remember
Mm.
that.
Yeah, but yeah, these are all like a good representative of kind of like the New York. We called it the Skronk Disso Death scene. Guys that we've gone to shows with, played shows with, just over the years. So this is more like a homie fest.
That's cool. Yeah.
So, are you guys going to play this album in its entirety, or is it going to be a different set list?
I'd
There'll
like
be
to
more
play
new
the whole
songs
thing
in
in
it,
its entirety, but
uh,
sorry.
I don't know if we're gonna do that exactly. There'll be at least a couple more new songs in the list, I think, but I don't know if we're doing the entire record yet. We'll see though.
Are some of those like kind of sudden stop starts you do hard to pull off live, or is that an easy thing to do?
Well, I don't know. It kind of comes natural. I would say it's kind of easy. Don't want to make it sound like that. It feels seamless because we're kind of in tune with how we play. You kind of know how long a break is going to be without counting. It's kind of like that internal pulse. And like Pat mentioned before, Crifo has a very steady beat. So if you're just like counting along internally, and you take a break, you're going to come back on the one or that downbeat note, and it almost always works out.
Yeah, it's definitely like a by feel thing. Like if the song's rehearsed enough, then it works out pretty seamlessly. Like, kind of have an idea for, Nick on the drums, but then also the whole band. Like, none of it's to a click. So it's like, you start to pick up on like, so and so tends to do this, and it's instinctive, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of for me a muscle memory thing. And when we get to certain parts that do have changes, I'll either look at Pat, Terrell, and we all kind of know this is it, and we get through it. Even though sometimes I'm like, wait, what song are we gonna play? And then it's we get it done.
Have you guys ever put any covers into your set, or is it, or if you did, is there like something you jam on that you might consider throwing in as a cover?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe "Hit Me, Baby" one more time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never
I'd
did.
like to hear your version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. if we ever did a cover, I kind of want it to not be a death metal song,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah, cool.
like have it be like at least we're adding something new to it.
Yeah.
Okay. So extreme metal shows that we've been to, sometimes you see some goofy stuff. It can be kind of a controlled chaos. We're actually one where a fan decided to kick and knocked over the entire merch table,
Yeah.
which we were
I
all
don't get the
gonna pick up.
kicking thing. I don't-
What's the wildest thing you've experienced
Yes.
on stage or witnessed from the crowd when performing?
Ourselves performing or just in general?
In general.
We played a show in Jersey, and the one show we played in Jersey so far, until the one next month, and the guy to put on the show, he just took a piece of the drywall from the ceiling and hit some guy in the crowd with it.
Yeah, but it was almost in like a wrestling fashion, like one of those props that break really easy. So they were putting on a show. No, it's funny. Like I've seen my fair share of people knocked out. I think the craziest knockout I've seen was a death metal show happening at a Cluck U. So Cluck U is like I'm not sure if you guys have it. It's like a little chicken fast food chain, usually in college towns. The last band is going to play, and I think 2 songs in, somebody gets knocked out, show gets stopped, cops come. And then the next day I saw Emperor in the theater. So that was an interesting little weekend. Went from chicken spot, seeing slam bands to that. And funny enough, I'm in my car right now because I'm in Brooklyn, down the block from a venue called the Wood Shop. I'm about to see, buddy of ours, Sam's band Drown in Blood. And obviously I'm unk because like all these guys are so freaking young. And you could laugh at me because it's like I just paid tolls and the show to like $50 to get punched in the face after work, right? But once you've been around this stuff for years and years, you kind of know how to position yourself.
And you're very brave wearing the Magnum PI shirt to a death metal show.
Oh, I love doing it because I know enough people that I'm not weird, but I want to weird people out that don't know me.
That's expected of Terrell when he's out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Indeed.
That's up nice.
Fresh fit.
But I am coming from work for the record. I would have wore something a little different.
So if you
that New Jersey show, by the way, with the drywall, like I guess it's not as intense as getting hit with drywall, but it's the same show. I think the headliner was a band called Wolves Attack with multiple exclamation points at the end of the name, and they were like these 2 or 3 dudes with wolf helmets or like hats or some shit that were like running around in a circle. That's kind of normal, I guess, but like it got more and more chaotic where like, we had these it was like one of our first shows. So we had these like basic, like the logo on a white shirt thing. And all those were like strewn with some sort of unknown liquid by these wolfish characters. It was really, it was crazy.
God.
Yeah.
So if you could open up for any band existing or in the past, who would you pick your band to open for?
It'd be Defeated Sanity, I think.
Defeated Sanity or Wormed.
Yeah, we're all going to, yeah.
Or Distant
One of those two.
Great choice.
Or, oh boy. Yeah, one of those 3.
Well, I agree with on all of those. Or Gorguts, right? I think that's like the little Mount Rushmore for us. We had a similar question recently, and it was like Dream Tour, and then I just decided to pick like all bands that were defunct, and I picked Lacathia Flame, Czech Republic, Digested Flesh from New Jersey, and Flourishing from New York. And they're all defunct bands, but they kind of just capture the same vibe that we're doing, a little different contrastic style death metal. And then Digested Flesh is just probably one of the best American slam bands, I would say, or brutal death metal adjacent slam kind of stuff.
Well, thank you so much for this album. It's like one of those albums, every time you listen, you hear something different.
Yeah.
And you hear a lot more nuances. So I admire everything that you guys put into it. And I can tell for the buzz, it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
The sounds of decay!
They're all podcasting. Okay. Sounds of Decay 1 is the new album from Psycroptic, The Pulse of Annihilation. Now, what is the first thing you think of when someone says Tasmania?
Devils?
I guess it makes me think about Aborigines. During those traditional dances, I always wondered, was there mean girl Aborigine women? You know the type, cruel and judgmental. Did you see the wrap Bindi wore today? I mean, girl, beaver pelts are so 5 minutes ago. And that apron she wore to the didgeridoo competition last week? Thing looked like my mom's squirrel skin rug. I love the shameless flirting with Jandamara yesterday. I love your necklace. Is that dingo bone? Do you need me to touch up your body paint? I mean, give it up, girl. You've got a better chance of skinning a live wallaby than getting any action out of him.
Which should serve as a reminder that Snaggletooth is the source for the freshest in Tasmanian death metal. In this case, it's the 9th album from the long-running four-piece Psycroptic. This tribe has been cranking out distinctive quality death metal since the turn of the millennium, and their music has graced labels like Nuclear Blast, Prosthetic, and this one shows them joining the hollowed Metal Blade roster with 9 songs, mostly in the 4 to 5 minute range. Label changes aside, this band knows how to deliver the goods with their signature herky-jerky riff style rife with juicy hard pan moments, along with fits of shred guitar at seemingly random intervals from Joe Haley, along with the octopus-like blasting prowess of brother David Haley.
No Time for the Weak wastes no time. See what I did there? With zippy rolls from Haley kicking off the percussion. Vocalist Jason Pepiot's metalcore adjacent roars soaring over the din with lines like, "Your death shall be my glory," and "Embrace the chaos within." The groove the band locks into around the 2-minute mark offers more crunch than a possum trapped in a bag of Doritos. Annihilation Pulse pits lickety-split drum ticks against slower, deliberate riffing. It serves as a marvelous springboard for Joe to cast off his signature shredding, a sound like his fingers are tying themselves in knots. As Pepiot scowls, this wasteland bows to no king. Let's hear a little.
Let's play a clip. This is Annihilation Pulse. Finally, there's No Blade of Grass, offering up oodles of hard-panned goodies and chopper blade drum calculus from Dave Haley. I have no idea what kind of servo creation augmented minor scale runs fueled Joe's incredible solos in this track, but they're definitely a component of this special sauce that makes this band so simultaneously listenable and mind-numbingly technical.
So get over to Psycroptic's Bandcamp page and grab one of those handsome rust-marbled vinyl copies of The Pulse of Annihilation quick before they're gone. And I know it's common sense, but if you're going to wear a bone through your nose, make sure it's not from a chicken wing. I mean, show some self-respect. We've got a burial ceremony tonight. Please don't embarrass me. Let's hear No Blade of Grass. Okay, Sons of Decay 2.
This is Astriferous with Atavistic Unraveling. Atavistic Unraveling is a wonderfully nasty death metal concept. Although at first it sounds like the kind of event that lands you on a 48-hour psychiatric hold. Atavistic means reverting to something ancient or ancestral. Add in unraveling, and it paints a picture of civilization peeling away, revealing something primeval that was always lurking beneath the surface, like the old chickenpox virus lying dormant for decades before deciding to gift you shingles. This is the second full length from the Costa Rican four-piece old school death metal outfit Astriferous, across 7 bruise-inducing tracks, most landing in the 4 to 5 minute range. Except for the 8-minute closer, the band drags listeners into a cavernous world of lurching riffs, savage percussion, and a decidedly malevolent feel.
A standout track is The Dissolution of Eternity. Funny, that's also what happened to my first marriage. We promised forever, well, until the dissolution called divorce. The infernal din takes control from note 1. The guitars of Felipe Trencio and Esteban Sancho storm the battlefield, one grating and mincing riffs like tank treads crushing gravel, the other dancing a macabre low-end jig with squelching melodies. Jose Maria Arias' kick drum lands with deep, unyielding force, punctuated by rolling fills. Meanwhile, Jose Pablo Phillips' bass delivers fiendish low-end notes buried deep enough to rattle a mummy from its slumber. The stacked vocals of Phillips and Tenicio erupt like a crematorium door grinding open, its steel glowing cherry red from the furnace behind it, the roar echoing through a chamber. Midway through, the vocals suddenly retreat, leaving an atonal guitar line to quiver uneasily over sharp snare strikes and shifting piston-like bass notes. When the vocals return belching noxious fumes in I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down mode, and the drums slow, they still carry that crushing weight. The tension coils tighter and tighter until it finally boils over, guitar sizzling like water spilling onto a blazing burner. Araya closes the piece by whipping up doom-laden froth, tempering the kick drum's violence while slowly accelerating. The guitars resume their sinister dance, and the vocals finish by scorching the eyebrows off everyone in the front row.
The floating catacombs immediately reminded me of the upside-down catacombs from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I'm not saying that's what inspired the title, but it certainly fits. In the game, lava becomes what looks like molten snow, the once green stonework transforms into an ominous crimson, and the soundtrack descends into a chaotic madness, making the entire area feel gloriously damned. Musically, the comparison isn't much of a stretch. The track is an all-out assault, guitars spraying notes in every direction as if played by an 8-armed beast, blast beats swarming like a plague of locusts, the vocals unleashing an acrid roar, and the bass providing an unholy pulse beneath the carnage. A brief breakdown follows as one guitar rapidly plays notes as if on a slip and slide before both lock into a nasty, crunch-tastic groove over the bass, swinging together like a pommel horse routine. Beneath it all, the kick drum keeps pounding out a steady, bruising pace.
Between verses, one guitar bleats like a fire alarm while the other scrambles off in a divergent direction, the vocals raging like a blowtorch on steel. Midway through, the guitars bunch together in pulsing waves like racing down an endless flight of steps. Then a possessed solo sneaks out, waxing, waning, and delightfully noodling before ending in a tortured scream. As the track reaches its finale, the blast beat menace returns, the guitars plunge back into a glorious cacophony, and the bass drops notes as thick as fresh latex paint. On the final staticky guitar line, it finds a rapidly oscillating melody before the drums slow to intermittent snare pops. Let's hear a little of the floating catacombs.
I think my favorite track is Proto Embryo, the third Tribulation. I always figured Tribulations came in 3. Then again, I also thought they came packaged with Trials. Here we get 3, standing alone, perhaps with a few stem cells thrown in. At any rate, the track begins with the guitars of Felipe Tenicio and Esteban Sancho bleeding out short riffs like a pair of angry goats, while Jose Maria Araya cycles through rolling tom patterns in the bass of Jose Pablo Phillips sulks and skulks beneath the proceedings. The vocals arrive low in the throat, echo-soaked and utterly scourging. Blast beats suddenly shatter the track's hypnotic pace as the guitars zigzag like debris caught in a tornado before settling into a dank melody between verses over a slower popping drum pattern. Then the vocals ignite and we're off to the races. Midway through, a guitar solo emerges from the chaos, spinning like a whirling dervish. The percussion alternates between flooring the gas pedal and easing off with brief, broken taps as the guitars continue to bleat, surge, and twist around one another. By track's end, the drums simmer back down, the distorted guitar riffs tighten and repeatedly crash into one another, trading energy like two people colliding in the pit. Those rectangular pupilled serenaders return, now even more frantic as the kick drum takes command and the vocals hiss like a red-hot branding iron.
By album's end, the unraveling is complete. Whatever civilized veneer remained has been stripped away, leaving the primeval beast buried deep in your cerebral cortex, ugly, instinctive, and very much alive. If this is what reverting to our ancestors sounds like, I'd recommend keeping the 48-hour psychiatric hold paperwork within arm's reach. Astriferous literally means star-bearing, but don't expect peaceful consolations or wishes upon shooting stars. These are the kind of stars that stare back, the kind that would make a Neanderthal step out of the forest, gaze upon the heavens for the first time, and respond the only way his ancient brain knows how, by hurling rocks at the incomprehensible. Across 7 tracks of brutal, cavernous death metal, the Costa Rican quartet creates a universe where the cosmos collides with the ancient, where the celestial terror meets something far older that we carry deep inside ourselves. Fans of Dead Congregation, Abhorrence, and Immolation should have no trouble finding their place in this pit while reaching for those stars. Let's hear Proto-Embryo, the Third Tribulation. Okay, Sounds of Decay 3 is the new album from Nunslaughter, Satanic Chaos Legions. You know, I've made quite a few crude, tasteless, and hideously blasphemous jokes in the show about Catholicism. And here's another one. Kinda early on in grade school years, I took all the information the nuns had pounded into our heads and came up with 3 scenarios that could be true. Either 1, God doesn't exist. 2, God exists but isn't all-powerful. Or 3, God exists, is all-powerful, and lets all kinds of awful shit happen to people on a daily basis. Now, some folks study this shit all their lives and never figure it out, but I'm pretty sure I had it all decoded by the age of 10 or 11, maybe. I mean, the stuff they were preaching made no sense at all. So we should all worship this all-powerful, invisible God with all our hearts and ignore school shootings, car bomb explosions, sinking cruise ships, the pandemic, and the Joe Rogan experience?
I mean, we've all heard the joke about the Holocaust survivor that goes to heaven and makes a joke about the concentration camp. When God says, "That wasn't funny," the man responds, "Well, I guess you had to be there." Marchman's Guide to Theology aside, we were absolutely thrilled to see the news of the 4,381st release from our friends in the Nunslaughter camp last month in the form of their latest full-length Satanic Chaos Legions. Dawn of the Dead and crew are so into Christ-trouncing, priest-burning, and angel-profaning poetry, they make me look like John the Baptist by comparison. Here we get 14 cuts of gloriously sacrilegious death metal, all crammed with explosive percussion, ragged riff bark, and Don's remarkably non-pentative vocals, and titles like Cathedral of Stench and Eucharist. This band could endure 19 exorcisms and still be punctual for their weekly church burning.
The whole thing is so friggin' packed with evil charms, it's hard to pick a standout track, but Jesus Fucking Dies deserves mention for packing so much punishment into a scant 1 minute and 20-second runtime. A furious scratching riff is met with Joe Lowry's deft rolls that thrash and rage at ridiculous speeds, capable of confusing even Black Phillip himself. Let's hear a little of Jesus Fucking Dies.
Jesus fucking dies. Nathan Yellowstone, what the water is the wine. It's not God, what we could have had a time. It's never even within a time of shine. Just like a criminal, now there's a wood. Why would you kill before you know the fuck? All the best can do is teach you how to suck. Within the Vatican, they spread the work of lies. Cover you to the cops, Jesus fucking dies. Jesus fucking dies.
Christian Ruse kicks off with a jaunty roll and a spicy Slayer-esque skulk of a riff. Lowry uncorking more ungodly rolls for the glorious chorus of "We have seen through the illusion, Christian Ruse."
It's kind of like the MC5 of the American Ruse. Christian Ruse. Ding, ding, da, 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 da. Sorry.
I'm actually starting to think an intervention may be in order. One more I have to mention is Rotten Messiah, one that blasts along on a crust-adjacent beat that suggests there may be a little hardcore mixed into this vile stew, but the evil crunch the band shifts into for the second half may be the most sulfur-tinged head-wagger of the bunch. Plus, take a look at that cover. Evil dragons, goat-headed phantoms, concrete spires, and even several pairs of tits to round things out.
So get over to the Frontiers label webpage and grab one of several gorgeous vinyl pressings of this truly demented recording, capable of single-handedly starting the biggest satanic panic since Tipper Gore discovered wasp. Let's hear Christian Ruse. There we go. We did it, Mommy. We did it. Yay. That was a silly one. Yeah.
Lots of silly stuff.
Lots of silly stuff.
Lots of toddler string.
So excited to find Dawn of the Dead had a new album. So excited. You know, since this has come out, they also have put out 2 EPs.
Mm.
I think they put something out like every couple of hours.
Wow.
Yeah. This has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to the gang from THAETAS for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme by Gustav Jord of Defleshed. Sounds of Decay theme by Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Sounds of Decay bands reviewed this week: Nunslaughter, Astriferous, and Psycroptic. All content 2026, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
This is my dunce cap that's growing up with coffee.
Fuck. God damn it.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.